Hello, we are Mike and Tara with Ramblin' Home, and we are here today to tell you a little bit about one of our very favorite campgrounds, Loyston Point in Andersonville on Norris Lake.
Yep. Norris Lake is somewhere I've been going my entire life. I grew up going there. It is actually one of my favorite places to be ever. Norris Lake was created by Norris Dam, which dams up the Clinch and Powell rivers. It was completed in 1936, and it's named after George Norris, who was a Nebraska senator that wrote the legislation for TVA.
You're such a history nerd.
I am a history nerd. So, and this lake actually is 800 miles of shoreline created by the TVA reservoir, and it is beautiful teal blue water. It's also rated the #1 lake in Tennessee and also the cleanest lake in Tennessee.
And that is why it is my favorite. So I'm not a big fan of swimming in water that I can't see through. And I love that, especially the site that we always stay on at Norris, we can walk straight out into the water all the way up to my neck, and I can still look down and see my feet. The water is that clear, especially when, like, first thing in the morning when the boats aren't out and the water hadn't been turned up. But even when it's really busy, it's still a lot more clear. So it's our favorite lake, not only for swimming, but for other, any water sport really, for boating, kayaking. We absolutely love it.
Loyston Point Recreational Area is operated by Recreational Resource Management. They have 4 or 5 different campgrounds and recreational areas within about an hour's drive of Knoxville, but they also have parks all over the U.S. The few parks we've stayed at that are managed by this company are phenomenal.
Yeah, we've had really great experience. We haven't had any bad experiences at any of their parks so far.
Very, very true. They are, as far as we know, all the ones we've been to are lakefront campgrounds, I believe, but we're very happy with that company so far.
Absolutely.
You and me, you and me. We could run away. You and me together, baby, we don't gotta stay. Let's lose our minds. We could go crazy and leave it all behind. It could be glorious, 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 glorious. It could be glorious, 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 glorious.
Weeks into it, I was coming back from the grocery, and I noticed this camper in front of me that had a sticker on the back that said the Gimpy Camper. And in my normal fashion, just walked right up to him and said, "Hey,
Michael talk to anybody, anytime, anyway." So yeah. So we had a great time with them. Had he and his family down for dinner one night.
Barratt's an awesome guy, and he had a lot of great knowledge. Really happy with the success of his channel.
So if you haven't checked out Gimpy Camper yet, please do. We'll put a link to their information so you can easily access it. He does a lot of great campground reviews and goes into some specific sites and shows you, the pros and cons. So I think a lot of people are looking for that, and he's definitely worth checking out.
We could run away. You and me together, baby, we don't gotta stay. We don't have to stay. Let's lose our minds. We could go crazy and leave it all behind.
This particular park is obviously waterfront. It does have 30 amp power, no 50 amp, but it does have 30 amp power, and that is for the RV sites. The tent sites do not have power. The water source is community water source between usually 4 and 5 sites. So they have a splitter off from the water source that has 4 or 5 taps on it. So you will probably want to bring an extra length of hose if you have it, but there is water. There is not sewer, and that is due to it being TVA controlled land and waterfront. They do not allow sewer there. If there were to be a problem with the sewer and the sewer got into the lake water, that would be an issue. A couple of other things, they do have concrete tables, at least for all the waterfront sites. I think some of the further in sites, maybe some of the long-term sites may have metal and wooden tables.
Loyston Point has a lot of great amenities. There is a little camp store where you can get kind of your basics, essentials if you happen to forget something. There is a dump station and a honey wagon. They have a beach, a playground, and a little covered pavilion I believe you can actually rent out for events. There are water sport rentals. There's a public boat launch just outside of the campground gates. And then a lot of hiking and biking trails as well. Lots to do outside. As silly as it sounds, one of my favorite things is that they do have a private bathhouse. They have a basic bathhouse that you're going to see anywhere, but they also have some private bathrooms that they've built onto one. So it's basically a full bathroom that you can use individually. That's one of my favorite things.
Not like showering at the gym.
Not like showering at the gym or having just a curtain protecting you from everybody coming in and out of the bathroom. So as we mentioned, we always stay at the same site or have always stayed at the same site when we've gone to Loyston Point, and it is because it is our favorite. It is site number 10. You'll see lots of pictures and video of that, so you'll see why it's our site. It is very, very private. There's lots of space. We've had guests that visited and we've been able to spread out and play games and do all kinds of things. So that's our absolute favorite, and we highly recommend it. We would rather just stay there all year if we could.
True enough. And so there's some other notable good sites. Site number 12, which is directly across the water from 10. Big site, does not have any shade. There's one little bitty small tree that's about as tall as I am, so that's not.
It is a beautiful view, but
all the waterfront sites on this park have beautiful views.
Absolutely.
And even the non-waterfront sites are nice. They're shaded and they're kind of back in the woods. So all the sites are really nice as far as your view. You're not up against an interstate or have any other cluttered sites next to you or anything like that. But so another good site is 13. Site 32 is a great site, although I will make note, if the water is high, site 32 and I think 33 are the first ones to flood. They're the lowest water level. Okay, so 35 is another great site. It's a big site, waterfront. Not much shade on 35, but it is flat, and probably out of all of them, I would say my next favorite past site number 10. So a couple more. Site 41 is not a waterfront site, but it is a nice site. 44 is close to the bathhouse and a little bit further up on the hill, which has a great view, as long as you don't have a bunch of campers that are in the other sites in front of you. And then 56 and 64 are also waterfront sites. They're a couple of the ones that are the small pull-throughs on the other side of the road. But out of all of those, there's probably a dozen of those pull-throughs that are waterfront. Those are the two that are big enough, flat enough for us. Now, that being said, if you've got a smaller camper, most of the sites on this property are going to be great for you. Mm-hmm. There's really not a bad site, so to speak of. I can't think of any of the ones that I would say, if I have the right setup for it, that I just flat out wouldn't stay on. So can't say much negative about the sites themselves.
yeah, I believe the website actually shows like maximum length. They're going to be very conservative because they don't want to tell somebody a 30-foot will fit when it won't. Yeah. But if you're really good at maneuvering and you are experienced, you may be able to get into some of the sites that are even smaller. We found that we've been able to do that from time to time. You can always ask when you call if there's some wiggle room on some of those, and they'll be able to give you some information.
A couple other quick things. They are only open from mid-March to mid-November. So one thing that is important, especially for full-timers, cell phone service is important. So unfortunately, being where this park is, cell phone is pretty spotty. Now that is with Verizon, which is our main carrier. We also have Sprint. Sprint was dead in the water. The bad thing is it would show you sometimes that you had 4 bars of 4G and you didn't. We even have a booster and it still didn't seem to help very much. Now again, it's spotty. So I won't say that there is no cell phone coverage because that's not exactly true.
There have been times we've been there and had no problems whatsoever. So it just may be hit or miss for you.
So to finish this out, really the only negatives that we have to say about this particular campground are things that they just can't do anything about. It's just the way that the campground was built, as far as some of the sites, some of the layouts. So all in all, a great park, beautiful lake, great campsites, and a wonderful experience. We highly recommend Loyston Point, so hopefully we'll see you there.
Yeah, absolutely. If you run into us, please stop by and say hello. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel, like, and hit the bell so you'll receive notifications when we put out new material. We always love to hear from you guys. So if you've been to Loyston and want to share some of your experiences, feel free to comment below. Or if you go in the future, please let us know. Let us know about your experience. We look forward to seeing you next time.
Thanks.
It could be glorious, glorious. Glorious, glorious. It could be glorious, glorious. Glorious, glorious.
Welcome back. Us.
800 square miles, the waterfront. What do they call that? Shoreline. It actually says it on Wikipedia.
Ooh, okay. Well, then if it says it on Wikipedia, it has
You
to
know
be
it's
true.
true. Hi, we're Mike and Tara from Ramblin' Home. Hi, we are Mike. Hi! Recreational Resource Management. Let's try that again.
Yeah.
Say that 3 times. Loyston Point
You should read it. We are going to be telling you
A story.
It's story time. Take 73.4. You're so cute.
Thanks.
I like your beard.
Thanks. I like your beard.
Oh, okay.
Why don't you do your job?
Well, it's about time you shut up so I can say something. Just kidding. The bathhouse is one of my favorite things.
I, on the other hand, don't really care because I would just
Mike
as
doesn't
soon
care.
break out the hose on the side of the RV.
Whatever. You would just take a bar of soap into the lake. I just kicked the tripod. For real though. For real though. Okay. Okay, well, you're going to be able to cut that, or am I going to have to start all over again? What more could you ask for?
And just to be specific, the public bathrooms are 18 foot by 12. They have exactly 62 psi water pressure.
Stop
the hot water
it.
lasts 35 seconds.
Nope, start over. Cut.
Couple other things as far as the... Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's just do that again. Cool. So...
I'm starting.
Okay. Tara's a talker.
Oh, yeah, you pot. Call him the kettle black.